one of the things we were talking about was the San Francisco 49ers and their win total. He likes them under the 11.5. And a lot of that thought process was based on the uncertainty and unknown when it comes to the quarterback position. But you feel fairly confident that it's not Trey Lance.
I don't see how it could be Trey Lance. I mean, first of all, Kyle knows his locker room, and Kyle knows what he wants to do. The biggest lie that was told 3 years ago when Trey Lance came out was that Kyle Shanahan was going to change his offense, that he needed something different, which is completely ridiculous. Like, his offense is multidimensional. It runs the ball. It's the outside-inside zone, and he's got great yards after the catch. And then by adding McCaffrey into that fold, they become a team that can substitute without substituting. That makes you very dangerous because you could be an 11 personnel, one back, one receiver, one back, one tight end, and still have McCaffrey on the field. He's a receiver. Now he's a running back. So it becomes very challenging. And I think he likes a quarterback who can run, but who only runs to make a play, not runs to run. And that's Lance. The fact that Lance didn't play his high school, didn't play his senior year in college, has missed his entire pro career, there's no chance. Now, could he come in and have a great camp? I don't know, coming off the ankle. But I do know this. Brock Purdy played 9 games the way they wanted Lance to play at least 1 game.
Yep.
So I don't think there's a lot of confidence within the building.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I've said it time and time again, Brock Purdy played more games this year as Mr. Irrelevant, a third-string quarterback coming in and largely, saving the day for a team that needed it and help getting them to the spot that they did in the playoffs, from a guy in Trey Lance who has played fewer games in 4 years than Brock Purdy played in 1 season. Yet, Trey Lance, because he was traded up to be taken number 3 overall from the San Francisco 49ers a few years back, is the odds-on favorite to take the first snap of the season for the 49ers. So while you don't think Trey Lance is the answer, do you think that is going to be, since it's already recognized maybe inside the building, how that's going to work in terms of training camp and health of the rest of the room? Is Sam Darnold at plus 350 kind of interesting if Brock Purdy's really not ready?
Look, we are dealing in the perception time of football, and no one looks at the evidence. They just have a perception of Sam Darnold. Last year, he played well, threw 7 touchdown passes, had 3 interceptions, had a chance to make a couple plays in the Tampa game, which would have won, through a bad interception there. But on the whole, he played really well. Well, you say, well, Lombardi, they ran the ball in Carolina. Well, what do you think they're going to do in San Francisco? They're going to run the ball. They're going to run outside zone, inside zone. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run play action out, and they're going to make him a better player. They're going to give Sam Darnold the offense that kind of fits him, which is what Carolina was starting to do until they fired Matt Rule, and then they replaced him. He got hurt. Had Carolina played Darnold the entire year, they might have won more games. They might have won the South. So I don't dismiss Sam Darnold as this horrendous signing. I think it was a really good signing. Besides, Walsh always said this, and I think it's so true. There's very few people who can coach the quarterback and even fewer that can evaluate him. They have a guy in San Francisco named Kyle Shanahan that can coach the quarterback. He will make Sam Darnold play well, just like he made Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy play really well. Remember, Brock Purdy didn't have a strong enough arm. Even though he started 49 games in college, he was too small. He played really well for them. And I think Will Hill's right. Had he stayed healthy in the game, they might have won the game.
Shanahan does, a system and the talent within that system that can make a quarterback shine.
No doubt.
And so I like the idea of Sam Darnold stepping in. I think that something that myself and a lot of 49ers fans have question marks about is just because we haven't gotten the opportunity to see Trey Lance enough. Is that going to maybe be something where management is going to say, we have to give him another shot?
But they have seen. They watched him practice.
In terms of actual NFL games.
But they watched him practice. You have to be good in practice. Execution becomes game reality. That's the sign that hangs in the Patriots room. And that's true. Practice execution becomes, if you're not good in practice, you're not going to be good in the game. And Lance struggled. And I go back to the Houston preseason game where he really struggled against Lovie Smith's generic cover 2, Tampa 2 defense, and he couldn't make easy throws. Completion percentage over expected. That's where he was really bad. The kid hasn't played enough football. They took an athlete. Lance should be a lesson for teams that are going down.
Anthony Richardson?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It should be a lesson because how are we going to fix this? Do we have somebody in the room that can fix this? Like if you're an owner of an NFL team and you're getting ready to draft Anthony Richardson, you're going to say, okay, Explain to me who is going to fix them and how we're going to fix them. If you can't answer those two questions, how do you pick them?
I would also say on the other end of that, and I'm sorry that I'm making us flip-flop here, but Bryce Young too, all of his flack it's all about his size, right? And about his durability. Trey Lance is a big-bodied guy, and he's just been injury-prone. Why is that something that, like, Bryce Young, he injured his shoulder last year, but he has not proven to be injury-prone.
Right, and he played through it.
Yes.
He played through it. I mean, and so, no, he's not injury-prone. What Bryce Young has that's different than Tua, Bryce Young has incredible instincts. Tua's instincts are nowhere near this. Tua, you have to tailor the offense for Tua. We're going to run read option. We're going to throw it here, high, low. Bryce Young is a complete look at the field and determine where he's going with the football. Completely, they're two different players. One guy, because he has to do the reads, is going to get hit more, whereas Bryce Young has a better sense of feel and instincts to move in the pocket. So they're different. And so to compare Tua's injuries to Bryce Young's is unfair. Mm-hmm. The fact that you make about Trey Lance, he's been injury-prone his whole career because he doesn't understand how to protect his body. And I think Bryce Young will. I've said this before. We said it earlier today. If he's 6'2", he's the first pick in the draft. He's a generational talent in terms of his ability to play quarterback. He is born to play quarterback. He's got that Joe Burrow it. He's got the Patrick Mahomes it in his play. You can't underestimate that. C.J. Stroud doesn't have that. He may be a good player, but he doesn't have that it factor.
No, but C.J. Stroud is... People call him the, quote, safer choice. I don't like that verbiage. It's not safer. He's the comfortable choice. He's the familiar choice. Bryce Young, because you look at comps in size to a Kyler Murray or a Johnny Manziel or whatever you want to look at.
Johnny Manziel would have been a good player in the NFL if he had any character off the field, if he would have taken football seriously. Again, Manziel, what he did at Texas A&M was rare, and he could have played. However, don't confuse his ability with his character. His character was what caused him the problem. Plus, they bring him in. He starts doing. They didn't have a plan for him when they drafted him. I think when you draft Bryce Young, you've got to have a plan.
Yeah, but you're not going to have the problems with Bryce Young that you had with. They're completely different.
Again, character matters.
Yes. Okay. All this to go back to San Francisco. Okay. Because I want to get your opinion on their general expectations. They are odds-on favorite to win the NFC West, plus 350 in the NFC. 9-1, anywhere between 7-1 and 9-1 to win the Super Bowl. Even with the thought process that San Francisco is going to be a very good team, and they do have the opportunity to play in the NFC, which is going to be the easier of the two conferences. Are these numbers still just too short for where they're at right now?
Well, I think the West is not good. I mean, the Cardinals, we talked about them on the 5.5 and under. They're going to be bad. I mean,
they're going to be bad.
Kyle Shanahan will carve up Jonathan Gannon's defense. I mean, it will be just carving. The Rams are signing minimum salary players. They have no draft choices, right? And they've got a quarterback who they just guaranteed $57 million to, who they're proclaiming is healthy, but he hasn't been hit in 6 months. So how healthy is he? I think Seattle could be a dangerous team because Seattle's going to add 2 first-round picks to their team. The right and left tackle were both rookies last year. They're going to get better. Geno Smith played well. They're going to get better defensively. So I think that's the only competition.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.